Camila, it's very good to meet you today. Before we get into the discussion about the charges that Alex Saab faces, can you give us more of a personal narration of who Alex Saab is, since you are his wife?
For me, it's nice to meet you too, and thanks for this interview. Alex is first and foremost a father man, and is the best father, the best husband, and it's a very loyal friend. Alex is a fighter, and he never gives up. Also in this situation, very difficult, and he never gives up. And I hope that you can have the opportunity to interview him one day, because he's very a good man, and if you just the people talk to him, they know that he's like that, and he doesn't deserve all this treatment that
for his detainment.
Yes.
And he's the father of 5 children.
Yes.
3 of them are with you.
No, two with me, and me with him 2 daughters. One, she's 1 year and a half. One is 4 years and a half, and lives with me also one boy, 12 years old. And with the other married, he has 3 boys.
Okay. What emotional toll has this had on your family and on his children?
Yes, the emotional toll is very huge. When Alex set off in this humanitarian mission, in a special mission to Iran in June 12, 2020, I never imagined that Cabo Verde was going to kidnap him and kidnap a diplomat of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, and don't respect the international law and the international treaties, Convenio de Vienna, and I never imagined that this was going to happen. And I haven't seen him for 530 days, and our younger daughter, Charlotte, she's the last time she saw him, she was 5 months old, and she doesn't even know how the father is. And when she hear the sister Mariam, that she has 4 years old, call Papa, Charlotte, she doesn't even know who is this mysterious man that the sister called Papa. And for Alex, it was extremely difficult also because in April 2021, his parents, they passed away within 9 days between each other. And his father was Lebanese and his mother was Palestinian. And he was very close to both of them. And Cabo Verdean authorities they didn't show any compassion, and they were very cruel because they didn't let him not even attend their funerals. But Alex, I can say that he's a very resilient person, and he is very strong, and he was able to come through this dark time and remain a rock, very strong for us, for his family.
So he was on a diplomatic mission
Yes.
to secure food aid and fuel for Venezuela that's suffering under the United States' very aggressive hybrid war against Venezuela, an economic war through sanctions, which has really, its goal essentially is to starve Venezuelans. And so Alex Saab was on this diplomatic mission to secure food aid. Can you explain to us more about what he was doing in Iran and what he was able to secure and how that would benefit the Venezuelan people.
Yes, he in June 12, 2020, he was traveling to Iran, and he stopped to Cabo Verde just to refuel gasoline. And in this stop, they kidnapped him. They open illegally the suitcase, the diplomatic suitcase with the letter of the president to the supreme leader of Iran. And so they completely didn't respect the international law. And he was going to Iran to bring food, medicine, all the primary resource for the pandemic that in this moment Venezuela was needed at that moment.
Okay, and if I could speak to the legal advisor about him being detained. When Saab was detained, was the United States violating any sort of international laws in capturing him?
Of course. First, I want to talk because she was talking about the Alex Saab as a human. And I want to talk as a human too, because Alex Saab appeared in the most difficult moment to the Venezuelan people. When the people was fighting against the sanction made by the US, in that moment appeared Alex Saab. To what? To bring food, medicine, and other important things to the Venezuelan people. And I think that is very important because we have to see Alex Saab, the persecution against Alex Saab, and not only against Alex Saab, all the people want to help Venezuelan people, and of course work against the sanction of Venezuela. Against Venezuela. You are asking me about the legal, what the United States are violating about Alex Saab. Of course, they are violating the international law, and that it's very dangerous. The international law, we are talking about the International Convention of the Protection of the Diplomat, and the Article 14 say very, very clear, the special envoy have protection, have immunity. And since April 2018, the government of Venezuela appointed citizens of Alex Saab as a special envoy. We are talking about 2018, and 2019, 1 year. Then 1 year, Alex Saab received the first sanction of Venezuela. What that meaning? The sanction received one diplomat of Venezuela. And international law say too, the person are traveling, the third country, and this is the Article 14 of the convention, the third country have to protect and have to respect his charge, like a special envoy as a diplomat. And when they did the first kidnapping, he has the passport, diplomat passport, and all the document, can say accredit he is a diplomat of Venezuela. And they violate the international law, and that is, as I tell you in the first moment, it's very dangerous way, not only to the Venezuelan diplomat, to all the diplomat of the world, and that is the more dangerous things, because for the way taking United States to the persecution of the Venezuelan people, they are violating anything, and as you know, the sanctions are illegal too. And the sanction, it's very important to say, constitute a crime of the humanity. Because why? The sanction provoke a lot of things in Venezuela, crisis, but like 40,000 people die when the United States apply that sanction. And that is very dangerous for two, and that is crime against the humanity, what the United States doing with the Venezuelan and with our diplomat.
Absolutely. According to the UN, actually, 100,000 people died because of US sanctions from people not having access to food and medicine, and 60% of those deaths actually took place under the Trump administration, who escalated the United States hybrid war against Venezuela and took those sanctions basically to the next level. And we saw those sanctions really truly affect the society of Venezuelans to truly suffer. So Alex Saab, he was appointed by the government here as a special envoy to secure food aid, to fuel. And so, you're saying that this sets a very dangerous precedent because the United States is violating international law by capturing him and detaining him. And now he has recently faced about 8 charges accusing him of money laundering worth $350 million. And 7 of those charges have actually been dropped because there was no basis to them. Yet there's one charge left that Saab faces now, which if he is found guilty in this Miami courtroom, he could face 20 years in an American prison. Could you explain the charges that have been placed on him, and what is the legal argument against him, and what is your or his defense against them?
We say they retired 7 charges, and they only put 1 charge, the conspiracy to launder money. But the others one, you have to see, like United States are playing with that case, and use the judicial system of United States to the interest, the political interest, what they wanted. And the others one, it's like personal things, Alex Saab buy like a watch, like clothes, like something, they put it in the charge, And for that reason, the Tribunal of Miami retired, because they don't have a way to maintain that card, and it's very, inconceivable. But the other things, the charge, what they maintain is the conspiracy to launder money. They can say in that charge, they can say everything, because that only conspiracy, let the people invent what they want. And, just a few weeks ago, we saw like they are using people accusing by launder money, and used that people to say something about Alex Saab, And now they use the man Begley, Roger Begley, Bruce Begley. Bruce Begley, he say he was, launder money of Alex Saab.
Is he the man that pled guilty in New York?
Yeah. Okay. That one. And he say, and he was working with Alex Saab. At the first audience of Alex Saab, the lawyer of Alex Saab say he doesn't know that man, never seen that man, never worked with that man, and we have to know something. In 2015 too, he was made by he declared against some people, and it wasn't true, And we have to know that, because we know that man, he worked with the DEA, who worked with the FBI, who worked with the Congress of the United States. Always he was working with them, and now they are using that man. That man, years ago, he declared something is not the truth, and it's very important to know that, because we have to see how United States are using people. Maybe it's guilty, I don't know his life, but I don't think it's very clean, that man. But using people only against Alex Saab, but only, to can sustain the demand against Alex Saab.
And so this man that pled guilty as a co-conspirator with Saab. Saab claims that he doesn't know him. He's never met him, and you're saying that his background, if we actually look into his background, he actually works very closely with the FBI and the national security state within the United States. So it's highly suspicious who this man is in terms of his relationship with Alex Saab. And Camila, I'm curious to know, you haven't seen your husband in over 500 days. And I'm sure that's been very difficult for you. And you told me that you just recently started speaking to him over the phone, and you've been able to speak with him for about 5-6 minutes at a time, and shared a couple of emails with each other. What has he told you about the way he's being treated in this American prison?
Okay, I cannot tell you too much because it was not easy to get access to him and communicate with him for the first 15 days because they isolated him for COVID reason. So they never let in these 15 days to communicate with us and not even with the lawyers. Now the lawyers get the access finally, and he can call me every day for 5-6 minutes every call. And but he's cancer survivor, and still since they bring to the prison in Miami, he's still not receiving his medication and not even the medical care. And I can say also that he never received medication in medical care also in Cabo Verde. Also, if the human rights send the order to give to Alex the medical care, he never received that. And also now, for the moment, he's still not receiving his medication. And so we are trying to get it.
As I've traveled throughout Venezuela, it's very hard not to notice a solidarity with Alex Saab. Everywhere I go, there's free Alex Saab graffiti, spray painted all over the city of Caracas and throughout Venezuela as a whole. I've traveled to several cities and other states. What is the kind of solidarity that you're seeing here in Venezuela? What are people telling you? Are the Venezuelans here feeling that Alex Saab is gone and missing?
Yes, I really cannot express the gratitude of my family, of Alex, for the incredible support that the Venezuelan people and also the government of Venezuela is showing to us. And Alex also is very grateful for all the support and of the government and for the true and the faith in him. And it's amazing for me to see the people, how they can support me. And we had 2 weeks ago the fair book here. The name is Phil Ben, and we decided to publish this book of Alex, the letters the letter that he wrote when he was in Cabo Verde, kidnapped, because I told you that we don't have communication in Cabo Verde, and the only way to communicate with him was letters. So he wrote many letters, we collected them, and we create a book. And it was amazing how the people come to this fair of the book here in Venezuela, La Filben, to receive the book, because we gift this book, and to talk to me and to give me the support, the strength to fight, and to tell me that I am not alone.
Countries like Venezuela, Iran, Russia, China, Zimbabwe, and others have basically formed the Friends of the UN Charter. to circumvent sanctions, to work together to
Yeah.
respect international law, to secure trade deals. And that's what Alex Saab was doing. What other ways is Venezuela working to circumvent sanctions through his diplomatic missions?
As you know, when the sanction of U.S. start since 2015, they closed off the international account in the international bank of Venezuela, in Venezuela. And the countries cannot bring directly food, medicine, and everything, and they start trying with a lot of ways, and then they use the structure made by our diplomat, Alex Saab. They use the structure to bring that things to the people of Venezuela, to the people can survive, to fight against that sanction and the consequence of the sanction to our humanity. And that is the way, use that structure to bring things to Venezuela. The most important, because we have, that is mission made by the government to bring food. The name is club, and the club was very important. The club was distributed to the people of Venezuela, 4,800,000 families, that meaning millions of people was receiving the club in Venezuela. And that was very important when we say we in Venezuela are fighting against the sanction, because the people can eat and can't have medicine, because Alex Saab was bringing medicine, oncologic cancer medicine, against the cancer. And that was very important to our people. Another thing like fuel, when he went to Iran, in that moment when he was kidnapped, he was on the way to Iran to have a special agree with that country to bring fuel to Venezuela. You know how important is Alex Saab, and for that reason, we as a Venezuelan, are very, very concerned about the Alex Saab situation, because at the first moment they violate his human right. First, second, they violate the international law, the Convention of the Protection of the Diplomat. They violate that. And they violate everything, only for the political persecution against Venezuela, against our diplomat. And now they are affecting a man and a family and the people too, because I think that is the purpose of the US. And for that reason, we demand on that, we condemn the position of the US, and we ask for the people of US to detain that procedure of their country, that country, because it's not only against one government, it's against of all the people, and it's a crime against the humanity, and we have to say that very important. It's a crime against the people of Venezuela.
This isn't an attack on just one man, as you're saying. This is an attack on the people of Venezuela, because he was missioned with securing food and medicine and fuel for a whole country that is struggling under sanctions. When it comes to human rights groups, how are they putting their support behind Saab, or lack of support, considering in the Western mainstream corporate media, there has been somewhat of a character assassination of Saab, painting him as, this rich, wealthy businessman who is, money laundering, and he's enjoying the riches of the Maduro government, as they put it. How are international human rights organizations supporting your cause, or maybe not supporting your cause?
We get a lot of support, not only from the ONG in Venezuela, ONG out of Venezuela organization, Bar Association, African Bar Association too, and a lot organization like in United Nations, the Commission of the Human Rights, Alex Saab get a support, like they say, they demand for the release of Alex Saab, and they asked for the government of Cabo Verde, don't extradite to Alex Saab. And after that, there is a lot special relator of the U.S. to ask for for the release of Alex Saab too, and don't make the extradition against Alex Saab. But and there is other organization more, the ECOWAS Tribunal of Justice of ECOWAS. They decide in March, and then they ratify their decision in June 2021, the both. And they ask for the release of Alex Saab immediately. They say that it's violating of his human right. And the other thing, that ECOWAS organization sent to pay the indemnization of Alex Saab, because it's a violation of the human right, and they are specialized in that things, a violation of the human right. But the government of Cabo Verde, they didn't hear that, and only they do what the United States tell them to do, and for that reason, only the United States make the second kidnap in 16 October and take Alex Saab for United States country, and now you can see. Now the case of Alex Saab is in two tribunals now, the Tribunal of Miami and the other one, the 11th Circuit of United States in Georgia. Yeah, and now they are discussing about his, if he is diplomat or no. You can believe that one country, doesn't have the right to say, if I am other country, I send somebody as a diplomat, because the diplomat only can ratify the country sended the person, If you want to receive or no, you have to accept that, because if we have a problem, that's not if we have a problem, political problem with the U.S., it's not the problem. They receive diplomat of Venezuela in other place, in the same United Nations. They have a diplomat of Venezuela. For that reason, and when they want to get the visa, who give it to the visa to our diplomat? The U.S. government, the embassy of U.S. What that means? They can recognize one diplomat and the other one they cannot recognize, or they don't want to recognize. It's not their choice, It's the choice of the country sent the diplomat. And in that moment, when Alex Saab received the first kidnapping, when he was arrested in Cabo Verde, not only Venezuela declared to that country, to Cabo Verde, he is our diplomat. Iran ratified to that government and called that government, telling them, yes, he is the special envoy of Venezuela, and he tried to come to our countries to make the agreement what we according to make,
So it's kind of ironic, as you're saying, that the United States is now, through these tribunals, questioning if he's even a diplomat. Yes. And they're basically kind of flipping the narrative that he's, to fit in that character assassination that I was describing that is taking place within corporate media, that he's not a diplomat, he's a criminal. That's the kind of...
he's not... Yeah. No.
Did you want to add anything else?
Yes, that he's a diplomat since 9 April 2018. And Iran sent a diplomatic note to Cape Verde, Russia sent a note to Cape Verde, United Nations and 5 of human rights and 5 bodies more send note to Cape Verde to stop the extradition, to give him medical care. And also the United Nations talk about Alex, about ambassador Ambassador Alex Saab. So they recognize him as a diplomat, and when they kidnap in Cabo Verde, they take off him the diplomatic passport and they open the diplomatic suitcase with the letter. And so they know and they knew that he is a diplomat. Now we are fighting in the 11th Circuit for the immunity and the inviolability of him. But they must recognize him as a diplomat.
Well, thank you so much, both of you, for answering these questions and sitting down with me today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.